Here's a quick instructional video of how to install the hide-and-go seat in a Sprinter van. There's really only one spot that the adapter plates allow you to install it. If you feel comfortable modifying those, then you're free to do that, but otherwise it'll go right here. It's about 44 inches from the back of the B-pillar to the back of the seat when it's up. One key thing to note is that when you're assembling this, the arrow needs to be pointing forward, and the two holes, see how they're offset? The offset goes with the closer hole to the edge, closer to the gas tank. All right, coming around here to the side of the van, the big plate goes in front. Got the arrow facing forward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark those holes. It fits perfectly within the cavity. So mark those holes. And you're gonna do that for both plates. And then what we'll do now is we'll pre-drill with a small 1/8 inch bit up through that hole. And we'll do that for all 4 of them. Make sure to go all the way up through the subfloor so that you can. So once you get all 4 holes drilled, you're gonna come in, line them up. So we've lined up the front here. And then our back will move up by about a 1/2 inch. And so we shifted the back plate forward so that we could re-drill in the center, and now we've lined it up perfectly on both of these. So you can see this alignment. We've got
this hole and this hole.
Yep.
And this right here, you see how different right here, correct?
Yep. Perfect.
So we have about 1/2 inch.
Yep, so we had to shift the plate forward by a 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
All right, so once we've got that lined up with our pilot holes, we can go down with either a step bit or with a 1/2 inch drill bit. And you can make a little bit of adjustment with that if you need to angle a tiny bit, but don't angle more than maybe an 1/8 of an inch if you can help it. So you can see, got these in. And from the bottom, you're gonna have to have somebody else to help out. You can drop these bolts in. And then the person on the bottom is going to hold that plate up and put the nut on. If you're doing it alone, it is possible, but it's tricky. You'll have to put a vice grip underneath to hold the nut, and then that should catch on one of the beams underneath. Once you've got your bolts through, you can come in here, and we're actually going to put a dab of Sikaflex or silicone or some sort of sealant around these. But first we're going to test fit it just to make sure that it all lines up so that we're not smearing Sikaflex all over the place. Alright, so once you've got it test fitted, we're going to do a bead of Sikaflex around the bottom. You can also use silicone or Volcom or whatever kind of waterproof exterior sealant you want to use. It's going to get pinched between the plate and the body of the van, so the type of sealant is less important that you put something there. Install the plate. Really helpful to have somebody up above for this part so that you don't have to get caulking all over yourself. Washer's going to go on. And then the nut. Same thing on this one. Alright. And we'll do the same thing on this side and tighten them down. Once it's installed, you can see that it captures all of the pinch welds all the way around from all these beams, so that way the force is absorbed by those beams effectively. And give you a zoomed out view here. That's what that looks like installed. Last thing you can do if you want to, it's not required, but if you live somewhere with a lot of salt on the roads in the Northeast or something like that, Midwest, then you may want to spray some rust protection on those bolts. This is the undercoating that we use to rust-proof those bolts. So pick a can of this up. It's like 10 bucks, Home Depot. Once the seat's installed, four 1/2-inch grade 8 bolts. You've got about 5 inches here to the B pillar. And it lands, if you want to know roughly where it lands, it's about 2 inches back from this little notch here. That's notch number 1, 2, notch number 2, 2 inches back from that when it is in its stowed position. And in its up position, it lands just about 3 inches behind that first notch. So almost directly in between notch number 1 and notch number 2.